Adam, darling, whenever you are ready, I am ready for you, sir.
One of the most important figures of the 20th century is someone you've probably heard of but might not know much about. Franklin Delano Roosevelt served as president for 12 years. His public policies were so significant that we still benefit from them 74 years after his death. Now, I think, U.S. history is something that is important or should be important to everyone here today, and that's why I chose to talk about it. This is a subject that I personally studied on and off for, quite a bit. When I was a kid, I, of course, learned about all of our presidents. Did a lot of research about FDR here at, Schmegedo's library. Now, let's talk about what FDR did before he was president. So, FDR was born January 30th of 1882. This is a photograph taken of him in Highland dress. It was taken by the Vail brothers, and they were like a photograph company in Poughkeepsie, New York, and Poughkeepsie is where this photo was taken. His parents were members of prominent New England families, so this was a kid that kind of grew up with a lot of privilege and a lot of wealth. Here's a quote about FDR's early life. It's from Ann Kerr and Edmund Wright in their book, A Dictionary of World History. Roosevelt's early political career was curtailed by his contraction of polio in 1921. In spite of the disease, he returned to politics in 1928 in a wheelchair. Now, let's talk about the disease that FDR had. Polio is a virus that can cause weakness and paralysis in various parts of the body. Despite an intensive rehabilitation, Roosevelt's hips and legs remained paralyzed for the rest of his life. So this is a photo taken in Fort Ontario, New York. And this was, of course, after he was diagnosed with polio. So as you can see here, it's really a photo op. And you can see, here's his car in the background. He cannot stand on his own power, so he's probably holding a cane in this hand, and in the other hand, he's propping himself up on the car. So I think this is a photo op, taken when he was governor of New York to show that, hey, this guy is healthy, he's a winner. So yes, this is all kind of staged to show that he was still in good health. And another quote about FDR from Hugh Gallagher in his book, The Politics of Polio. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was bound to a wheelchair and could only stand upright with the aid of leg braces. He could mimic a walking motion by shifting his body weight from left to right. So at this time, the 1930s and 40s, it wasn't really socially acceptable to have a disability. And so Franklin Delano Roosevelt had to go through his political life with, he had to be very careful about how people saw him. Because if they knew he had a disability, polio, he would probably not get elected. So this was a disease that he had to hide from the public. So as you can see here, this is Franklin Delano Roosevelt once he had been elected to office. This was taken in 1933 during his first inauguration as president. The people in the car, that's his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt. who was really, a huge part of his life, just in terms of guiding him. This is a man by the name of Robinson. He was the governor of Arkansas, I believe. And really, FDR's presidency was defined by his how he handled the Great Depression and World War II. In order to combat the Great Depression, he instituted reforms that are known today as the New Deal. The New Deal, it was a series of reforms, of financial reforms. It also created the Works Progress Administration, which gave people government jobs. And the New Deal is, it's still really the model for our social spending here in America. And if you're someone who wants to be an advocate for change, I would recommend you look to the past and look to people like FDR who have made great changes in our country. Thank you for listening to my presentation.